Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And good morning. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Audible, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words. No Kanye talk now or formerly. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests, and special series to that end. You can tell it's Wednesday because we have my fabulous co-host for is in the house. Her name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate. Welcome back to the studio.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Woohoo!
Absolutely. And if you missed yesterday's show, it's funny. I just said no gossip, no scandal. You know, I had the bad boy of Hollywood in here. He's a journalist that is one of those bad journalists that like spy on people, go through their trash and everything. And so if you missed that, you can still listen to it on YouTube, my YouTube free subscribe channel. But the best part of it is like, he said to me after the interview, thank you for not doing a regular interview because everybody wanted to know, you know, exactly what was in the trash and stuff like that. And I just mentioned it. We talked, you know, what he has in his bio for the book. It's called When You Step Upon a Star. Isn't that clever?
Yeah.
And I was just so pleased with that because it helps me remember why I'm doing this. You know, to balance out the way regular people are interviewed or regular news and all of that. So I guess I just started breakfast with acknowledging myself. And I don't know if you've been doing it while you've been away, but for those of you who are new, don't know what I'm talking about breakfast, we're actually having breakfast now called Taking a Bite of Our Gratitude Sandwich. And it's a good life habit and a hashtag Blissable that I'd like all of you to adopt. So first thing in the morning, top of the bun, 8 things that you're specifically grateful for. You can't say friends and family because that's not specific enough, but things outside of yourself. And then the bottom of the bun, what you do before you go to bed, will model for you the things that you like about yourself. And it's my BS, my belief system that good mental health starts with self-care, self-approval, self-love. So that's why we do it. And I just sort of skip to the bottom of the bun just now by acknowledging my ability and my love and my experience as a host now for 637 consecutive weeks. But yeah, why don't you do one bottom? We'll go backwards today. You do one bottom of the bun, and then the rest of the time we're just gonna warn you. We're gonna go over because we haven't seen or talked to each other in 3, 4, 5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, at least over a month, at least a good month.
Yeah. And so we got a lot to catch up on, but we don't like catching up, you know, offline. We like catching up online. So we get to see each other on the show. So that's what we're gonna do after the bottom of the bun. Ready?
Yes. So I am very grateful for my ability to uplift others. And I have a great ability to go to Dallas, Texas with my sorority, the first and the finest Black Greek letter organization established for African American women. And it is the one and only Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And while we were there in Dallas, Texas, we broke the Guinness Book of World Records for, yes, for the most hygiene kits in 1 hour. For packing the most hygiene kits in 1 hour. So, yay for us. And so that was a big deal. So
Hiking for yourselves, or
no, hiking for the less fortunate.
Thank you. I knew there was a hook in there, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and as you know, that's something that was near and dear to my heart. That was why I participated in the Carla Hall competition to try to raise money to help feed the less fortunate. And I do volunteer on a regular basis at the local Mason Lodge most Sundays. And another thing, while I was there, the Vice President of the United States had a chance to come and speak with us. Kamala Harris, and that was a very encouraging speech to help us be aware and to help motivate other people to get out the vote. And that is one of our initiatives, as well as focusing on the environment. And I think it's very important to help uplift the community, focus on the environment, and empower economic growth. And I think it's very important that we definitely focus on that. As you know, my book, Money Matters, is about to come out that focuses on children saving their money, investing their money. And I think that as we look and we focus on educating ourselves and educating our children, we can really uplift the community.
Awesome. Did you show her the book?
Well, I didn't have a chance to talk to her individually. I was like on the fourth row, and Secret Service was right with her, but I have some great pictures.
Aw, so she came to talk just to your sorority?
It was over 20,000 of us. Yes.
Wait, there's
So
20,000 in your sorority?
Well, there's over 20,000 of us, but there were 20,000 of us registered for the event.
This is why I like to do this, not offline. I know what a sorority is, and I know that, there's many sororities, but that many? When was it started?
This was founded in 1908 at Howard University in Washington, D.C. But there are undergraduate chapters and there are graduate chapters. And the way our sorority works is that once you're a member, you're a member of for life, and you can maintain graduate member status. And as a graduate member status, we mentor undergraduate members, and we provide scholarships to high school students because we want to help encourage them to pursue their education. And we also try to mentor students who aren't in school and encourage them to go to school as well.
So 1908, I'm trying to think,
1916.
Oh, 1968.
No, 1908. 1908.
So, that's back when there was slavery,
Yes.
right? That was
Yes.
back when Jim Crow,
Yes.
lots of. So, who was the brave African American woman who started this?
Ethel Hedgeman Lyle.
And she went to Howard University. Was she one of the first? This is like blowing my mind because it's like women and women of color as a first time shopping like that. That's incredible. And that's why you have the numbers.
Yes, that it is.
OMG.
Yes, we have a We have a lot of movers and shakers throughout history. Coretta Scott King was a member. Maya Angelou was a member. If you look throughout, Mae Jemison was a member. So if you look throughout history, a lot of first and movers and shakers were a member of our sorority.
That is so cool. Now, how many how many sororities are women of color? Do you know off the top of your head?
There are 4 primarily African American predominant sororities. There's the first, Alpha Kappa Alpha, then there's Delta Sigma Theta, then there's Sigma Gamma Rho, and oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart because I'm right here.
That's okay, but you already exceeded just by those 3, so don't worry about it. But I'm trying to get a sense at and highlight, you know how I love to highlight like new things that I didn't know before, and the credit, right, for not only what you're doing in the sorority, but sororities are traditionally should I say, a mega activity. And so to hear of sororities that support women of color because they are made of women of color is really amazing. And the fact that it's like 1908 is even more amazing. So I'm guessing there are at least 10,000 sororities, different letters.
Well, I know that the African American sororities and fraternities, we focus on community upliftment and their undergraduate and graduate opportunities. I know that the primarily mainstream sororities, they don't have graduate opportunities. You participate as an undergraduate, and once you graduate, that's it. They just party and kind of drink and have fun, and then they reminisce when they go back, and that's it. But when you join, and it's open to everyone. It's not just Black people who are in it. We have white members as well. And so when you
So
pledge
the
an African,
focus is around the different things that you do
yeah,
versus, okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yes. And when you pledge to serve the community and uplift the community. And it's a lifelong commitment to the community. And you are expected to not just do it undergrad. And you can join as a graduate member. There are some people who don't join as an undergraduate member. I did join as an undergrad. It'll be 30 years in December that I've been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And
Wow.
some people only join as a graduate member, and that's okay too. We'll take your service whenever you want to do it.
Right, right, right. Um, I'm looking at Wikipedia because that's one of my balanced, you know, non biased, less biased.
I
So
remember the other sorority is Zeta Phi Beta because I have a cousin who's Zeta Phi Beta, and she'll be like, "Cousin, you did not remember my sorority."
well, I actually am kind of surprised. I thought there was going to be thousands, but it looks like there are around the world. Are they going to give me a number? Here, let me share what I'm looking at with you so you can see. Uh, I know this is a side topic, but I'll forget. Look at like there's like a lot. I know it was a lot, but I thought maybe 10,000s, but there's not 10,000, but it's definitely like hundreds, right? So this is 5, 10, 15, 20. So 20, 25 to the middle of the alphabet. So
I
let's round
know
30 times 2 is 60. So
yeah,
60, about 60 sororities around the world.
I know that our chapter is international. So you'll have chapters in Africa, in America. There, it's an international organization.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me because the
Even in
stereo,
Japan, we
the
even have chapters.
stereotype, the stereotype of sororities is, like you said, and fraternities, which is, let's go get drunk and haze people.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad to hear that that is not what's going on for yours, and probably a lot of different sororities and fraternities, that they're actually doing things like mentoring and, all of that. So that's great to hear. Yay!
We have an anti-hazing policy. It's kind of like see something, say something. We actually have an anti-hazing policy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Let's go to, oh, yeah. So, what was your impression of Kamala?
Oh, I am always impressed with her because, she was, she's a very impeccable attorney. She used to be, I think, was it the Attorney General or something for the state of California? She is very eloquent, and I think that she is a very powerful and impressionable woman, and I was in awe of her.
That is so good. She went to Howard University.
And so I was just in awe of her, and I think to have her in office working for her is something that we are truly benefiting from, and we have benefited from her for the past 4 years.
Yes, she was Attorney General of Attorney General of California from 2011 to 2017. So that is so cool. What was your personal impression of her?
My personal impression, I was like, "Whoa, girl." And so I had to give out our sign, which is very loud. Yeah, absolutely. And so I was very happy, very supportive, and I was just very excited for her. And I am hoping to not have to deal with the I don't want to be under a dictatorship. And I don't believe I was in the military, and I don't believe that this country should be under a dictatorship. And I feel very sad for where we're headed, and I don't support violence, and I feel sad that a Republican shot another Republican, and I think that that says and speaks volumes to where we're headed, that they're attacking their own, and I think we need to wake up and see what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. I can't say anything because I went and broke my own rule about 7 or 8 years ago, but not talking about politics, and I had consequences. So I'm not going to go down that road, but I am. I agree with you. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, so Kamala, tall, short, tall. I'm guessing she's tall.
She's probably tall. She had on, pumps, but she's probably around my height, I believe.
You're how
So
tall?
I'm about 5'6".
5'6". Oh,
Yeah,
okay, not that
5'5",
tall.
5'6".
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
average.
as tall as I thought she was going to be.
Yeah, about average woman height.
Okay, all right. Well, if you've just tuned in, you're wondering what's going on in the studio today. It is my very special Wednesday series, and we're live called Doctors in the House with me and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And we're having a longer than usual take a bite of my gratitude sandwich for breakfast because my co-host and I have not seen or talked in 5 weeks, which is a record. And so she's done some really interesting things, as have I, in this last little hiatus that I took. And so I'm catching up with her, and she just told me what it was like to meet and hear from Kamala Harris, who is our vice president. And that was kind of cool. So the Secret Service was like, how many people?
Oh, Well, there's the Secret Service that we saw, and then
Yeah.
there's the Secret Service that we didn't see
Right.
because we had to be screened going in, and then we had to. There was because we were at the Dallas Convention Center, so
Mm,
there were Secret Service everywhere. So they were in full force, and
yeah.
the Secret Service on stage and around the stage, there were a lot. Uh,
Mhm.
and then there was TSA screening us.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I guess we always have to do that now. Um, was there time for questions? Did anybody ask her a question, or
Well,
she just spoke?
we didn't have time for questions, but she did a 20-minute enthralling, uplifting speech, and you
Mm.
can actually find it on YouTube if you want to tune in. Um,
Oh,
it was very, very encouraging, and I thought that it was very motivating, and she addresses that 2025,
project, whatever.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, that thing,
that thing.
and
Huh?
yeah, that thing, and, I thought that she was very eloquent without being demeaning or like how some other people can be. And I thought she was very classy. You know how Michelle Obama says that when they go low, we go high? She
Yeah.
just stayed high and went higher and above, and she soared. And I thought it was very beautiful, and I was impressed.
Beautiful. Yeah, I got to meet Hillary. So she was part of the when I won the 2005, a long time ago, Role Model of the Year award in media. And so I got to meet her, and I was surprised she was tall.
Mm.
But it's interesting. I'll have to send you the picture of us together, but we're both wearing the same color. So I got the memo.
I met Biden when he was vice president, and he he was very conversational. I had a chance to talk to him. I actually have a picture with him, and I feel it's very unfortunate what's going on with him. I haven't talked to him recently because I haven't been in an event with him recently, but
Mhm.
he is running the country right now, and he is
Right,
doing the job right now.
right.
So all we can do is pray and put it in the hands of the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Um, okay, so do you have any questions for me?
Yes. How was China?
China was amazing. It's funny, my father was the first foreign expert invited into China after Mao died and the Gang of Four were not in power anymore. So that was an honor that I think I took that a little bit for granted, or it didn't mean as much, to me when he was alive. And now he's in heaven from lymphoma. And the way I know how great of a feat that was is the reception that I got in Shanghai. So I actually spoke at uh, two universities, and one of the universities is the one that he started the joint PhD program
Oh,
between
wow.
University of Waterloo in Canada and the Shanghai University of Engineering Science. So he was a chemical engineer, lifetime professor at UW. So my daughter and I got taken around to all the sites in a private car, all the meals, great food, all the tourist sites, hotel, really nice hotel. I'll have to show you a picture of the pool. It was amazing. And Beijing, remember I was telling you that I wanted to go and, hopefully meet with a publisher to see about, the Chinese version of Hey Ways to Happiness, right? I think I told you that.
Mhm.
And so I was kind of not happy because I didn't even know if I could get in when we got to Beijing. And then I got a note saying that I had an interview set up with a #1 publisher in China.
All right.
So that's the good news. The bad news is the first 10 minutes of the meeting, they said, we bring over best-selling authors from America, and yes, the Chinese people are now buying more self-help, but they're going back to their roots of the masters. They're not interested in the Western self-help per se. And I was like, oh, and then they go, but we are interested in you. And I'm like, oh. So apparently, because I speak the language okay, but I was born in the West, but I understand the culture and the raising, being raised Asian or Chinese, that I would have a voice. Now, they don't have Instagram. They don't have Google. They have Baidu instead of Google, and the little red book instead of Instagram. So they want to place me or build me as an influencer in China on their dime, which is like, isn't that great?
That's fabulous.
So it looks like I'll be spending a little more time in China, which I wasn't crazy about Beijing, although my daughter loved the Great Wall. I was just enthralled with Shanghai. It's like a cross between Las Vegas and Dubai. It's very modern, very, you would never know you were in a communist country. So if you're looking for a place to go, it's amazing. And then we went to Hong Kong, super hot. Then Taiwan. I got to see my 92-year young auntie and go to karaoke with her.
Oh, okay. What did you sing?
I sang a bunch. I sang this song that I have never tried before. Let's see if I can. Na 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 na. I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. Do you know that song?
Mm-mm. But it sounds right.
I can't remember the title, but anyways, it was a great trip, and my daughter had an amazing milestone kind of trip, so that was great as well. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Well, when I was in France and I was on my cruise, Kim Fields was on my cruise as well. Do you remember Kim Fields? She was on The Facts of Life, as well as Living Single, and a few other shows and movies. So
that's awesome.
She's a famous actress. And so we'll see. I might be able to get her to come on our show for us to interview.
Oh, that would be great. I'm just pulling her up now. I'm horrible with name recognition.
Once you see her, she played Tootie.
She played what?
She played Tootie on The Facts of Life.
Yeah. I actually got to interview Charlotte Rae right before she died.
But Kim Fields is probably has quite a few more years of living.
Oh yeah. She's 55.
Mm-hmm.
And
he has a lot of stuff to her credit. And so she was on my cruise.
That's so cool.
So I had a chance to talk to her. And
how is that? What were you talking about? If I can be so nosy.
She actually sat down and she addressed the whole ship, and she actually took our group photo and took our group video, and she talked about being an actress and how that went. And I was like, oh, this would be great. Are you open to interviews? And she said, yes, I am.
Good job, host. Good job. Yeah. All right.
Yes,
that's great. That's great. All right. Well, somebody gave me the finger, which is always nice. Not that finger, but this finger. And we have in the cashew gallery, Jerry Foxall Cater. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. And I hope you enjoyed that recap. We just have that was probably the hardest thing, was not to talk about it when we were both back. We wanted to wait to catch up here so you could also eavesdrop and find out what's going on with the co-hosts of Doctors in the House. All right, and that is it for breakfast. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be back in 2 and 2. Take a quick station ID break, and don't go away. We'll have the topic of today, which is
reading the room. Do you know how to read a room?
We're not talking about libraries. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back. We're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel that houses all 1,188 today. Lucky number of all the shows. So free subscribe there. Or if you want to spend $2.99 and get a little piece of me on Mondays after the show, as well as $4.99, and you get all kinds of products every month. This month we're giving away this signed copy of 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, which is the national bestseller now too. And you'll also get Asian Oprah giveaways from Dr. Tiffanie Tate, who has several books that are, my favorite is Bad Touching. But those of you who don't know her story, she is an MD. She's an OBGYN licensed, and I'm the PhD side, which is just piled higher and deeper. She did years as an OBGYN doctor, and then had a non-planned for change in her life, but that didn't keep her down. She turned to becoming a singer-songwriter, playwright, poet, and also an author. So tell us about one of your books.
Well, we have Little Engine Mia Sings, which teaches children about bullying, which is also available as an audiobook. And you can get it on Amazon as well as Barnes and Nobles.
Fantastic. And please do go get that. We are in lots of need of care and education for our kids these days, so that they are, not persuaded any which way, but growing up knowing that they are loved, loving, and lovable, so that they can have a good mind to make choices on whether to follow bullies or not. That is definitely part of my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy and centered people. All right, let's go to the topic. Here we go. How well do you read the room? On a scale of 1 to 10, this is for you, Jerry. Give me a number. If 10 is, you know exactly what is going on, 100% sure, you know what the vibe is, you can feel something's going on, and you know exactly what that is as a 10. 1 is you don't even know you walked in a room. So on that scale, I want you to rate yourself, Jerry. Anyone else? I see eyeballs in there. There are people who are tuned in but haven't identified. If you don't want to identify, no problem. Just put a number down, and I'll ask my co-host, Dr. Tiffanie Tate, what her number is as well. I'll go first because it's my my intrusion here. I will say I'm an 8. I didn't trust it, but once I trusted it, it was very apparent that I'm uber sensitive, which used to be a bad thing. People telling me, "You're so sensitive," and I used to hate that. But once I realized that creativity is 100% correlated to sensitivity, now I take it as a compliment and I say, thank you very much. But sensitivity, I think, is one of the factors when you walk into a room. If you're feeling something, and my fingers are already tingling, and that's how I feel, I will actually get a physical sensation of energy in the room. And a lot of time I'll walk in and I'll go, oh, well, there's some serious conflict going underground. It's like smooth waters on top, but sharks below. And that helps me as an organizational psychologist to work with companies because I sense things. So I'm an 8. Tiffanie?
I will say it's a range for me, and I'm going to qualify that because it depends on how I'm feeling. And if I am in my feelings, I don't care how other people are feeling. I am numb and I am shut down and I am turned off. And I'm like, bump you and the horse you're going on to. So I might be a 0, but if I am if I am normal, then I could be about an 8 to 9 and concerned and because I'm an empath and I can probably be too empathetic. And because when you say, okay, well, what is reading the room? It's the ability to understand what's going on with other people. And sometimes I probably place other people's feelings above myself too often. And but if I am shut down, like I said, I'm like I could become what's called Lady Iron Skirt. And you don't want to see you don't want to see Lady Iron Skirt.
Wait, iron skirt?
Yes, it's a shut down mean lady. You don't want to see Lady Iron.
Is that slang? I mean, is it idiom? I've
That's,
never.
that's the military. That's the military mean lady.
Oh,
Lady, you don't want to see her.
wow.
I was
Now,
I was given that name by somebody.
oh, so it's not in the military as a whole. It was a military term for you.
Yes, it was a military term for me.
I don't. I think I'm good without seeing that either.
It was
Sherry, thank you for being honest. She said a 4. And I think that you were also agreeing with Dr. Tiffanie when she made that really good distinction that if she isn't in a place where she is receptive, then you can't be a 0. The scale was 1 to 10. So she's a 1.
one.
All right. So curious, you picked the topic. Why did you pick this topic?
I picked this topic because I just went on my trip and I went from France to London to Amsterdam to Dallas. And I had an opportunity to be in multiple environments and I had the opportunity to watch multiple people. And there were chances for me to read the room. And a lot of people did not know how to read the room. And I was thinking, wow, I can read the room. But a lot of people, they really don't know how to read the room. They don't know how to pick up on nonverbal cues, when to speak, when not to speak. There are times when you should be silent. There are times when you should speak. There are times when your opinion should be kept to yourself. And you should really pick up on those cues. Um, and everything that is thought should not be spoken. People, read the room. And I'm thinking, I thought it was great to experience all the things I experienced. I loved my cruise in France. I loved my time in London and Amsterdam. It was my first time in London. It was my first time in Amsterdam. And I had a great time. But everything that is thought should not be said. And everything that you experience, something should be kept to yourself. And I'm thinking, maybe this will be a good public service announcement.
All right, Jerry saying yes. Sometimes I could care less. So it's funny when you pick that topic, I saw it more as the sixth sense, that what you're talking about as an empath, but is that ability, because you really do have to keep your mouth shut if you're going to read the room, right?
But it's the same thing, exactly what you're saying. You need to know when that you need to let that sixth sense kick in. You need that discernment. Some people claim that they have it, but they don't.
But is this something that everybody has, a sixth sense?
People say common sense is common, but it's
uncommon.
Yes. Because if it was, everybody would have it, and they don't.
But the question is everyone born with a sixth sense or the ability to, as in this case, read a room? Is that something that everybody has and they don't use it? Or is it something that you're born with, and if you're not born with it, you don't have it? Is it something that everybody has, but maybe everybody doesn't strengthen it to use it?
I think it's something that should be taught. I don't think that everybody is born with it. I think it is environmental, because it's kind of like if you haven't been taught manners, you don't have them. If you're not taught, keep your elbows off the table, wash your hands, wipe your mouth, you don't do those things. So it's the simple things that you need to be taught. So if you say sixth sense, you should be taught to respect other people's space. You should be taught to respect other people's feelings. You should be taught to know what and when to say at what time.
So you know how I like to ask my assistant Google.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked my assistant Google about is there a genetic predisposition or a gene that houses sixth sense? And I was I didn't know this. With the help of 2 young patients with a unique neurological disorder, an initial study by scientists at National Institute of Health suggests that a gene, had no idea, called, and these are my letters in my last name, PIE, except as PEI, Z02 or O2, controls specific aspects of human touch and proprioception, a sixth
proprioception, mm-hmm.
describing awareness of one's body in space. I had no idea. So this one says, does everybody have it? Everyone is born with a sixth sense. However, many of us don't know or understand how it works. Having a good sixth sense helps us in becoming more confident about making decisions. And I do know, as the Asian Oprah, that my honorable moniker does believe in a very strong sixth sense, which will give you the answers if you have a question. And that a lot of us are in a place where we get messed up because we ask other people for their opinion about your situation or whatever you're trying to get advice without asking yourself first, and that we have the answers if we're quiet enough, as Dr. Tiffanie is saying, and shut the front door so that you can actually hear the answer. So I love it. I love when two things, I learned that last week, and I thought, oh, I want to mention that on the show, but I didn't have the opportunity, and this is the perfect opportunity. So cool.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
believe that if you walk into a room and you observe people, like if you walk into a room and you observe a disabled person and you are an able-bodied person, you don't point out their disability. I don't think you need a gene to tell you not to make fun of a disabled person. I think you need to think and use your brain before speaking. Um, those are
I would see that more though as less of a sixth sense and more of interpersonal effectiveness and emotional IQ, which I'm just having for myself the need to separate the two, because I teach personal and professional mastery. That is different than honing a gene called the F whatever to read the room. So I absolutely agree with you that it is super important for you to have enough awareness and sensitivity, which I'm distinguishing a little bit different than that, a little bit woo woo, a little bit hairy fairy thing called, that sixth sense, than interpersonal common sense that isn't common in this country. But I will say that I got really ticked off when I was in China because every man did not hold the door open or allow me to go first. In fact, the opposite. They would storm in front of me. Women would do it, like invaded my personal space like all the time. And I was really ticked off. And then I remembered that I'm not in America where we have a sense of personal space that you don't violate, which in our minds is common sense. But if you're not raised that way, it's not because you're stupid. It's just because you're not raised that way. And one of the reasons we have so many problems in our country is we say we love diversity. We say we welcome everyone and people of color, and yet we don't educate on differences in common sense
and cultural differences.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because I was judging based on the assumption that in China, personal space is the same as personal space here.
Oh yeah,
So,
and in France, all the tables are like this close together.
yeah, exactly. And so I had that what that phenomena of there's a neighborhood effect is seeing something that's different when you're traveling, and somehow that's disconnected with something that's different when you're at home. So I got to be better at not judging as soon as I see something that I think is common sense, because it's not common. It's a cultural common, but not necessarily for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I know
Absolutely.
you did more research on this. So what else have you got before we run out of time?
Yes, yes, yes. And I think it's important when reading the room, when you walk into the room, a lot of times people need to pick up on like you said, you walk in and you can sense whether or not there's tension. And if you walk in and you're all like, "Hey, everything's great," and there's tension, and you can pick up on the body language, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to tone it down and I need to see what's going on. You don't walk in there and try to lift up everybody's spirits because you're not being well received, and you're like, okay, well, is it me? Well, no, the situation was bad when you got there. It's not you. you just walked into a bad situation. So you can't internalize it, you can't personalize it. Like in the book we talked about in other shows, the 4 agreements, you have to understand, even though we live in a me society, everything isn't all about always about you. So observe body language, observe facial expressions, listen actively. Always remember that context matters, and watch what you say. Watch how you say it, because you want to be careful with what you say. I was with somebody and 2 girls walked in and they were like, "Hey," and the one was light skin, one was dark skin, and they were like, "Hey, white sugar, hey, brown sugar." And me and the other person looked at them and was like, "Wait, that's inappropriate." And they were like, "Oh, it's an internal joke." And we were like, "That's inappropriate." And they were like, "Oh, no, no." And I'm like, "Well, in a society where color matters and colorism is an issue, you don't say stuff like that." And they were like, "Well, I'll go apologize later." And it was like, read the room. I don't care if it's an inside joke. That's context always matters. Um, and so always notice group dynamics. Accept or adopt your behavior. Um, Watch how you do things. Know that everybody is watching you, um, whether you're with your significant other or not with your significant other. People are going to report what you're doing, how you're doing it, and trust your intuition, and practice empathy, because no matter what other people know or may not know what you're going through, like we said about the disabled person, because all these things matter, and those are the main things you should consider when you're reading the room.
Great. Yeah, this is an area where, it's about interpersonal effectiveness. It's about, um, you want to be a good person. You want to be, I go through this when I do diversity consulting. Everybody's intention is very few people have the intention, I'm going to be a jerk. That's my intention. Or I'm going to be, you know, uh, uh, an ash hole, right? That's usually not people's intention. Usually people want to be respectful. Usually people want to be empathetic and nice. That's your intention, but your impact, those examples you gave, commenting on someone's disability, or, uh, uh, doing like a dance when there's some tension in the room, that there's a conflict going on, or somebody's like tearing up or holding back tears. That's not the time to do your whatever it is, right? There's a time and a place. That is interpersonal effectiveness. Dr. Tiffany's not lecturing you to, don't do this and don't do that. If you want to have your intent equal your impact, then you might want to develop your ability to be sensitive and understanding, and maybe ask. One of the things that I coach on is, a lot of times we're up in here and it's MSU University. You're making shiitake up. You see someone, you think that they're upset, before you launch in, just test it and say, I get this feeling that you're not in a good place right now. And they can either say, you're right, how did you know? Or they can say, no, I just ate something at lunch and it's disagreeing with my stomach. That way you're not off to the races making all the assumptions that come after what you think is going on. So that's my final word. And we're, because our format has a little change, we have 1 minute. So,
Well, one of the best things one of my friends did to me, she came up to me and said, it looks like you're having a hard time. Is there anything I can do to help you with that? And that was one of the best things that she could have done for me. So if you want to be empathetic, be a good friend and do that.
awesome.
Good room.
thank you so much for tuning in today. Tomorrow is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and James Hawthorne. So you can keep it here on KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. Thanks for joining Dr. Tiffanie and I on the special series, Doctors in the House, with Dr. Marissa and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
We'll see you live again next week. Thank you, Dr. Tiffanie. As usual, fabulous insight. And I'm so glad that we got to catch up. All right. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever.
Take back your life with Dr.